What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 4. Is it episode 4, Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Episode 4 of the Game Room. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for coming to hang out. We're going to talk about some video games today. Got a loaded show coming up. Going to be talking about the Game Awards and what to expect from them. An update on the ongoing Activision Blizzard battle. And the topic of the show is going to be my Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet review. What did I think of the game? When am I going to score it? We will get into it later. In the meantime, I'm your host, Rome, alongside my co-host, Jeffrey Vegas. Jeff, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing excellent, sir. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely, man. We are getting into the holiday season. We got the Christmas tree up here. We got the lights going up and all that. Good times all around. There's something about Christmas time that's just like it feels so special with video games for me. And I don't know if you have that feeling as well. They just kind of go hand in hand. Am
Yeah.
I crazy in that, or does that make sense to you?
No, you're definitely catching on to something there, because pretty much my whole life, when people are like, what do you want for Christmas? I tell at least one person a video game or two. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely. But anyways, yeah. So let's get right into the start of the show, which is news topics from the past week and getting you guys ready for the upcoming week. So Jeff, the Game Awards are this Thursday. Very excited for those.
yeah.
And we have a little bit of a little bit of a possible announcement ahead of time that we might see at the show. Final Fantasy 16 has been rated in Brazil ahead of what's assumed to be an announcement on Thursday. The following is coming from Insider Gaming. Jamatsu on Twitter has discovered that Final Fantasy 16 has been rated in Brazil, suggesting that the game will be revealed in the near future. The game has been rated not recommended for children under 16, not surprisingly. Um, so this basically coincides with another rumor going around that the release date is going to be June 22nd, 2023, according to a known leaker on Twitter. Jeff, are you a fan of the Final Fantasy franchise?
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited for this. What we've seen so far in the few trailers we've seen looks really promising, and I think the Game Awards is a very likely landing spot. Usually, the thing about video games is it's very hard to keep secrets for long, especially when you know when something's coming. So, for these ratings to start popping up amongst other things, I think Thursday we get there's a pretty good chance that we see something. I believe that Jeff Keighley even announced that the director of the game will be there. So, maybe we'll get some sort of special presentation about the game.
Well, that's actually pretty cool that the director's going to be there.
I believe so. He tweeted that out earlier this week. I didn't put it in my notes though, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah, man, I love me some Final Fantasy. I've played all the way back. I mean, I've played all the way back to like Final Fantasy 4, but I started with the original Final Fantasy 7 on PlayStation, of course. Beat that with my brother, God knows how many times. Did all the ultimate weapons and all that stuff. 8 and 9, I played those as well. 10, 10, 2, I love those. I didn't play 11, 12, 13, but I did play the Final Fantasy 14 because, I'm a MMO guy. But yeah, I'm interested to see what 16 is going to be all about.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up, League of Legends and other Riot games start appearing on the Microsoft Store on Windows. They are coming soon to PC Game Pass. Following comes from Windows Central. League of Legends and other Riot games start appearing on the Microsoft Store. Riot Games' all-star lineup of PC games like League of Legends and Valorant may soon be arriving on Xbox PC Game Pass. A few months back in June, developer publisher Riot Games made a shocking announcement during 2022's E3 event. They announced that they will be partnering with Xbox Game Pass, and you will be seeing free-to-play titles such as League of Legends, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, and Teamfight Tactics coming to Xbox PC Game Pass later in the year. Fast forward to this past week, and Twitter user by the name of IdleSloth84, who is he compiles. This guy's crazy. He compiles like so many listings from so many different countries and all that. That's not what the article says, but I actually followed this guy in the past. He's really on the ball with his stuff.
Okay.
But a few months back, this past week, these things started showing up in the Windows store, the League of Legends, Legends of Runeterra, Teamfight Tactics, and Valorant. Now, obviously, these games are mostly free to play, but with Game Pass, all of the paywalls will be available to Game Pass subscribers. So all that content you have to pay for on these games, if you're on Game Pass, specifically PC Game Pass, they will be included. Now, I feel like this could be another thing where you might expect an announcement on Thursday. They did previously announce this back at E3, like the article says. But Jeff, how you feeling about all this great content coming to PC Game Pass?
Uh, you know, like I've never been one to buy any of the Game Passes. I've always looked at it as like a cash grab. The only one I have, obviously, is the PlayStation 1, and I only have it to play online. You know what I mean? Like, the free games mean nothing to me on it, even though I do download them here and there. But I'm interested on the PC version of this, because with the PC version, it doesn't seem like so much of a cash grab. You know what I mean? Because there's an overwhelming amount of PC games out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the services go hand in hand, both on console and PC. My personal recommendation, unless you really just don't have a PC, it would be to get both. I mean, if you get Game Pass Ultimate, it comes with both. You actually kind of have to go out of your way to only have one. That price point that we talk about with Game Pass Ultimate, it includes PC Game Pass, so they're kind of the same.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it's just more value. There is a way. I don't even know what the pricing is to do them separately. I think it's possible to do them separately, but like it's like one of those things where it's like you're just going out of your way if you're just getting one. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
make a lot of sense. Um, but anyways, I know I think it's great to have these free to play games getting even more content. I mean, sure, the games you could just play them for free, but those games having all this extra content there for Game Pass, I think that's a phenomenal. I mean, these are all games that I'm not much of a PC gamer. I know most of these games, and I know they're extremely popular. Um, so it's always good to get those kind of deals going in your subscription service.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Next up, Bethesda is working on another mobile game. Starfield developer Bethesda is currently working on a new mobile game, though it's unclear which of its famous franchises it's based on. Speaking to Lex Friedman on the latest episode of his podcast, Bethesda executive producer and Starfield director Todd Howard revealed that the Elder Scrolls and Fallout developer has another mobile game in the works. Talking about the conceptual differences between designing a console game versus one for mobile, Howard said plainly, "Well, we've done a few things, and we have a new mobile game that we're working on that we haven't announced yet that I am in love with." He didn't really give any other details, but this kind of coincides with what seems to be Xbox's ongoing business model of just getting people in the ecosystem, no matter where they're playing it. Bethesda recently, Jeff, they announced or released Elder Scrolls. I think it was called Blade, and that was the Elder Scrolls mobile game, which some people seem to like. I don't really play mobile games, but it's good to get your brand on that mobile space. I mean, Microsoft's making a big part of the claim about the Activision Blizzard deal is that they really want to get the Candy Crush developer under the Microsoft banner. So this is good. It's good to see Bethesda kind of cranking out these games where Xbox wants to be at.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Uh, this was also announced earlier this week. Monster Hunter Rise is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles in January. It will be a day one Game Pass title. Not really much more on that. Monster Hunter Rise was a pretty big hit on, I believe, the Switch. But so I'm not much of a Monster Hunter guy, but I saw a lot of people getting really excited to play Monster Hunter Rise on their current gen consoles. Right. Sorry, kind of a slow news week overall, just because the
A little
Game
bit.
Awards are coming up. So it's like you kind of got to go with what you got. I mean,
Yeah.
the Fallout TV show, we got an update on that this past week. This comes from IGN. Fallout's TV show has a fresh story separate from the games. This Fallout TV show is being made by Amazon, and the show will tell a fresh story completely separate from the games, though it's still in the same world. This is once again from that Lex Friedman interview with Todd Howard, where Todd said that he'd been turned off by previous adaptation offers that only wanted to transfer the story of Fallout 3 or 4 into a film. When this idea was proposed to tell a new story adjacent to the events of the games, however, that's what got Howard on board. He was quoted as saying, "When people wanted to make a movie, they wanted to tell the story of Fallout 3 or tell the story of Fallout 4. And for me, it was meh." He said, "For this, it was, hey, let's do something that exists in the world of Fallout." So, Jeff, have you played the Fallout games?
I extensively played Fallout 3. It is one of my favorite games of all time. And kind of funny. I go by Jeffrey Vegas over on our wrestling podcast. Fallout Vegas, I absolutely hated, and I still to this day don't know why I hated it. It was good. It felt good, but for some reason, something about it really turned me off, and still to this day, I don't know what it was.
You said New Vegas makes you feel that way?
Yeah,
Wow,
and
really?
being from Vegas, I'm like blown away that happened to me. I was like so excited for it. I don't know what it was. I still can't put my finger on why I didn't like it.
Was it because it was buggy as all sin? Because
It could have been like I don't remember exactly why I quit, but I remember being like halfway through and I was just like I can't play this anymore. I was just like I'm done.
Fallout New Vegas is my favorite Fallout game, or it would be if it wasn't just so broken.
Uh
Um, Game crashes, there's not saves, bad loading. Like we're gonna talk about performance issues in the game of our topic today, but like this is like 100 times worse. Fallout New Vegas was a really buggy game, which really broke my heart because I really love that game. It's
that was more
probably
than likely what it was then. I just don't
yeah, like
remember.
that for me. That's a 10 out of 10, and I also think Fallout 3 is a high 9, if not a 10. I didn't
Yeah.
really enjoy like I love Fallout 3. I did get frustrated sometimes navigating the DC wasteland. I felt like some of the more city areas. I haven't played this game in years. This is just go off memory, but I don't know. I felt like navigating kind of some parts of the city was a little annoying sometimes. But other than that, I love Fallout 3 and got all the gamer score for it, got all the expansions, did all that. Fallout 4 is also really good, but I'm excited to see this Fallout TV show, Jeff. We kind of live in a really lucky age, or at least we're starting to, where the Last of Us show on HBO Max looks really good. The Mario Brothers movie looks phenomenal, and then this show we haven't really seen much yet. But I just kind of can't help but have some faith that this is going to be a pretty good project, especially with Todd Howard being so protective of doing an adaptation to begin with. Um, so yeah, we're living in lucky times in terms of the adaptations.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm super excited for that Mario movie. Like the storyline of like Chris Pratt basically being teleported into that world and he's like in Mario's body. I'm just like, yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, I'm super into it. I can't wait. All right, next up,
Well,
an
we got
interesting.
Purpleness in chat says she knows someone who's an extra on the Fallout show.
Really?
That's
That's
cool.
that's really cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Fallout show. I'm excited. I'm excited for all these shows to come out. Last of Us, I think, is in January. I don't have HBO Max right now. I'm kind of hoping that Tony Khan announces like a streaming deal soon with HBO Max, so I can like get on there for that reason alone. But no, I mean, it's a great time to be a fan of video games with these adaptations coming out.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if we don't hear something about that streaming service soon.
Yeah, you never know. We'll see though. Anyways, here's a fun story, Jeff. A great reason why Activision Blizzard should be purchased. This has nothing to do with the purchase, but it's worth talking about. So, Activision Blizzard was shut down, at least their argument was against Activision Blizzard Albany's union attempts. So basically, there is a group in Albany of game makers who've been trying to unionize, and Activision Blizzard has been trying to shut those attempts down. And in the meantime, the National Labor Relations Board, the NLRB, denied Activision Blizzard's appeal to have the entire Blizzard Albany studio vote on unionization instead of just the QA team. So originally, the story came out a few months ago that the QA team was trying to unionize, but then the whole studio was like, "Well, let's try to unionize." I don't know how much you know about the games industry in general, Jeff, but there have been a lot of discussion in recent years about game developers just trying to unionize in general, which I think is a good idea. Personally, I think that it helps take care of these developers. A lot of these publishers, they just kind of lay people off kind of at will. Like they'll put out a game and the game will be like the most successful game of that franchise or be a successful game in general, and then they go and they lay off half the studio that made the game, um, which
Yeah.
I don't think is necessarily the right way to do it. Um, but just an update on this as well. The unionization attempt was successful. So not only was Activision's argument and appeal shut down, but there is now a union in Albany.
Okay.
So just another reason why it's okay for Activision Blizzard to be purchased because uh, if
So
you're fighting against your own employees, I always feel like that's a bad thing.
yeah, so this whole purchasing thing, we got lots of countries' governments trying to get involved in this purchase here. So it looks like the US government might be getting involved in blocking the sale. It looks like other countries are actually going to the courts to like speak on behalf of Sony. It really looks like both sides are trying to get as many politicians on their side as they can. And it's almost at like a stalemate like right now, like you got these people from other countries saying that it's a good idea, and you got a crap load from, other countries saying it's a bad idea. It's just wild. I don't want to say that both sides are paying these people, but that I think we all know that's how politicians make their millions. It's
Uh,
kind of funny, it's who's gonna wind up getting the better politicians on their side is kind of where it's at.
Well, we may have a little bit of news on that. I do have it set up later down the script for our official Activision Blizzard purchase update because unfortunately we're at the point of the deal where there's something to talk about every week.
Yeah.
So we will be getting into that a little bit later.
Oh, cool.
All right. So next up is kind of a small one, not very big, but I thought it was a really cool thing, and I don't know if any other store in terms of the console space has done this. So Xbox is currently running a deal on their store, their digital store, for Ubisoft titles, buy one get one free. XboxEra.com reported on this, and they pointed out that this was a deal that is a first for Xbox consoles. And when I looked it up, I didn't see anything for PlayStation, Nintendo in terms of a buy one get one free deal. And I thought that was really interesting to be able to do that. Usually, you just have discounts. Not a super major news story, but for those that buy games digitally, that's a pretty cool thing, I think.
Yeah.
All right. More on the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley saying that the Game Awards will be much shorter this year. Jeff Keighley said that they are likely to be significantly shorter. Comments were made on Keighley's Twitter Spaces the other day, where he gave some insight to behind the scenes of the Game Awards. During the Spaces, Keighley said, I won't say anything officially until we're through our rehearsals, but we think it's going to be significantly shorter. He continued, we definitely have cut back pretty significantly in terms of the runtime on the show, and just kind of fewer games, fewer bigger games that'll be there instead of people they always debate, are they presenting enough? But we've got some really great announcements. I think some really amazing studios around the world are participating in the show this year. There's some games that I've been hoping and wanting to show for a number of years that are finally ready this year to showcase to folks at the Game Awards. Also, we're very happy, very, very, very happy with how that's coming together. Game Awards are this Thursday. Um, so, Jeff, I don't know if you've watched the Game Awards in the past. The show, my biggest issue with Jeff Keighley's gaming news shows, both the Game Awards and his Summer Games Fest, is that they run about 50 to 60 minutes too long. Um, and it's not because I think they should be shorter. It's because of what he chooses to show on the show. Um, don't really meet what I would say the standards of, a showcase per se. I think he said he spends a lot of time, and a lot of it ends up being kind of ads. You got to pay the bills somehow. So like if Valorant pays for 5 minutes of ad time on your show, you're gonna let Valorant pay you for that. Um,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to seeing what this shorter runtime can do. I think condensing it is important, and also that is a very fair criticism that Jeff Keighley brings up about the balance between presenting awards at the Game Awards and new announcements. And I would like to see that be a little bit more balanced. But obviously, it's always fun to get new announcements too.
All right.
See what's up next.
Yo, that's
Also, at
awesome.
the Game
My
Awards,
Raichu is surfing on his tail.
that's an Alolan Raichu.
Yeah.
Um, Also, as we talked about last week on the Game Awards, will reveal Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This was officially announced by the Game Awards today after a few leaks that we reported on here last week on the Game Room podcast. Um, we got a nice poster that looks really cool for the game. I'm really excited for this. I played the first one, love Star Wars, love Jedi Fallen Order. But we will be expecting a full reveal on Thursday. The Steam store has seemingly leaked the release date, though, of March 16th, 2023. Um, And man, 2023 is going to be such a packed year. That's probably going to be a topic coming up within the next few weeks on the here on the game room, where we're just going to run through the entire next year slate, and it is crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
All right. Next up, some news that came out today. Microsoft has announced that it will be raising prices on its new first party games built for Xbox Series X and S to $70 in 2023. These games include Forza Motorsport, Redfall, and Starfield, among the first to reflect the change. For anyone that pays attention to the industry, this was something that everyone knew was coming eventually. Obviously, PlayStation started out the generation doing this, raising their games to $70. Most AAA third-party publishers, Activision, EA, they're pretty much all at $70 right now. Pretty much Nintendo is the only one kind of out there still doing 60. But I feel like even they might have to make the jump eventually. That's just kind of how, unfortunately, it's going. As of right now, there's been no rise to the price of Game Pass. Microsoft has reiterated that these first-party games are still coming day and date to Game Pass. So for people who are on Game Pass, this this $10 price increase isn't the biggest deal in the world, but unfortunately, it's just kind of the way the industry is going.
All right.
All right. Next up, Microsoft, Activision Blizzard roundup. So let's run through some of these real quick. This came via Bloomberg. Microsoft is ready to fight for its $69 billion Activision deal. Microsoft Corp is ready to fight for the acquisition of gaming company Activision Blizzard if the U.S. Federal Trade Commission files a lawsuit seeking to block the deal, according to a person familiar with the matter. The Xbox maker hasn't had conversations with the FTC about remedies or concessions aimed at getting the deal approved, said the person, who asked to be anonymous. FTC staff is wrapping up its investigation as it is expected to make a recommendation soon, the person added. The FTC commissioners would then vote on whether to file a case. In the event that the FTC tries to block the case, Microsoft is gearing up to contest that decision in court, said the person, who again has to be identified, not to be identified, speaking about internal strategy. Bloomberg Intelligence antitrust analyst Jennifer Rye said it wouldn't surprise her if the FTC does file a lawsuit seeking to block the deal, but noted that a court fight would be hard for enforcers to win, and Microsoft could prevail through a legal battle, though a legal battle could stretch beyond the deal's end date. Microsoft has said it expects to close the transaction by June 30th. This is no surprise. Clearly Microsoft is going to continue to fight for this deal. It's a lot of money they're spending. Microsoft president today also came out and said that the FTC suing over the Activision Blizzard acquisition would be a huge mistake. So Microsoft President Brad Smith did an op-ed with the Wall Street Journal and went to task outlining the company's position. Recent rumors have been swirling that the FCC plans to sue or block the deal, as we just discussed. The situation is somewhat unprecedented since it would mark the first time in history a regulator had stepped in to protect a market leader, despite the fact that Microsoft has asserted repeatedly and even offered to contractually commit to a 10-year deal to ensure Call of Duty remains on PlayStation. Basically, Brad Smith reiterates the fact that the deal is more about Apple and Google ultimately, whose control over the entire mobile market has squeezed innovation and harmed competition in a very steep 30% fee across all business-based models. Famously, Epic Games was kicked off the Apple Store due to the 30% revenue split. Brad Smith said, acquiring Activision Blizzard would enable Microsoft to compete against Sony, Apple, and Google, through innovation that would benefit consumers. While modern consumers can stream videos or music on multiple devices on low-cost subscription plans, many games can often be individually purchased and downloaded onto one device. Microsoft wants to change that by offering consumers the option to subscribe to a cloud gaming service that lets them stream a variety of games on multiple devices for one reasonable fee. It would also benefit developers by allowing them to reach a much broader audience. Microsoft, he also says, to get more subscribers to the service, Microsoft needs a full library of popular games, and as things stand, we don't have enough. That's where the acquisition comes in. Activision Blizzard comes with popular mobile, PC, and console games, including Candy Crush, World of Warcraft, and Call of Duty. So, also during this op-ed that he also did officially confirm that Microsoft did offer the 10-year deal to Sony to make Call of Duty available day and date, same day as Xbox, on PlayStation consoles for the next 10 years. Now, this just happened today, so we do not have an official response from PlayStation yet. Other little things, Microsoft's acquisition got backed by a major tech union, which was the Communication Workers of America. The president of that organization wrote a piece basically saying that this helps Activision Blizzard's workers who are already dealing with, as we discussed earlier, not the best conditions. And then lastly, a possible rift at the FTC could pave the way to the deal getting approved at the FTC. The following comes from TrueAchievements.com. Last month, it was reported that the FTC was likely to file a lawsuit to block Microsoft's $69 billion takeover Activision Blizzard. That's a line that I'm getting quickly tired of saying, Jeff. According to the report, the panel is made up of 4 commissioners, 1 Republican, and 3 Democrats. Republican Commissioner Christy Wilson has already signaled support for the deal, but the New York Post, which brought out this news originally, their source claims that at least one of the 3 Democratic commissioners is also now leaning towards Microsoft, which could lead to a tied 2-2 vote. These sources also say that Democratic commissioners might be more comfortable in approving the deal if Microsoft was to provide the FTC with concessions on the acquisition. Insiders claim that FTC Chair Lina Khan is looking to block the deal, but a 2-2 vote would hinder those plans as well as overshadow her authority over the agency, something it is claimed Khan may not be willing to risk. This is a quote, Lina would probably not put things in a position for that to take place, so instead of having that vote, she would make the motion to approve the settlement. William Kovacic, a former FTC chairman, told the New York Post, the way out is to say, we got a great deal and only got it because we've been badasses. So, if the FTC doesn't challenge this, the deal is definitely looking good here in the States. I know, Jeff, sometimes it gets kind of gargled up with what we talk about every week here on the show. But what is you got any takes on any of this Activision Blizzard news?
So, I don't really know. I've heard so much from both sides that, I almost don't know where I stand on the deal. You know what I mean? I'm never for large companies getting larger. You know what I mean? I can't think of many times especially in the gaming world, where that's turned out to be a good thing. Seems like the larger Blizzard gets, the worse their games get. You know what I mean? The larger Activision has gotten, the worse Call of Duty has gotten every single year. So I don't think it's a great thing for these large gaming companies to get even larger, but at the same time, Activision Blizzard has gone through a whole bunch of, we'll just say controversy over the past couple years, and maybe this is what they need to clean it up. But like I said, the past will show you that larger companies getting larger has never been a great thing.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely something to take caution of. My personal opinion on it is I think Activision Blizzard should be purchased, if not by Microsoft. I'd be okay if Sony did it too, although I don't know if Sony would make Call of Duty Xbox, not make it PlayStation exclusive, but I don't know about that. But, Activision Blizzard is just not a very well-run company, in my opinion, in terms of how it treats its workers, the product it's putting out, the amount of IP that Activision is sitting on, and that they're doing absolutely nothing with. Can we get a new Spyro game? Can we get a new Crash Bandicoot game? There's so many IPs in the Activision, portfolio that they could be using or utilizing, and they just don't because, Call of Duty makes a lot of money, Candy Crush makes a lot of money, World of Warcraft makes a lot of money. So they just kind of sit on these things. And Blizzard's the same way. Blizzard's got a lot of IP as well. There's just a lot of potential in that company. And I would like to see somebody kind of try to get more out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Our last news topic of the day, which will lead in later to the review of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is coming up. Um, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet patch arrives as Nintendo promises to take tech problems seriously. Following comes from IGN. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's first post-launch patch has arrived, alongside a promise from Nintendo to take the game's tech problems seriously. Patch notes on Nintendo's website for version 1.1 of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet say that the broken music during the Elite Four and Top Champion battles have now been fixed, along with a vague confirmation of other select bug fixes have been made. The patch, available now, also kicks off Season 1 of Ranked Battles. Nintendo is also committed to improving the performance of their first open-world Pokemon game and apologized for the various issues that are present in the launch versions. Nintendo said, "We are aware that players may encounter issues that affect the game's performance," Nintendo said. "Our goal is always to give players a positive experience with our games, and we apologize for the inconvenience. We take the feedback from players seriously and are working on improvements to the games." It didn't say when these updates would arrive, however, but this first patch was released just under 2 weeks after the game launched and exactly 3 weeks after it released its day one patch to those with early copies. If Nintendo sticks to a similar trend, it could be mid to late December before we see another update to Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. I don't want to get too much into it now because the review is coming up after our next segment. But it's good to see Nintendo is addressing this and that, the game will be better than it is now.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear that they're not just ignoring the bugs, kind of like a certain other game right now where they're literally ignoring it, not even mentioning it. But yeah, it's great to see that from a game. You know what I mean? It's I actually really, when I heard that they had said that, I almost clapped out loud. I was just like, "Good job, Nintendo!" Like, to acknowledge it is, a big deal in this new gaming world we're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being a Nintendo fan is it's quite an adventure. Because there are times where you just want to grab like somebody at Nintendo and just shake them, right? And just be like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing? Stop it." And there are other times where you're just like, "I'm so proud of you for acknowledging these flaws and being like, yeah, we're working on this right now. We're gonna get this fixed right away."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's the duality of Nintendo, unfortunately.
Nintendo, I'm gonna cross the streams here a little bit. Nintendo reminds me of Tony Khan. You know what I mean? I'm sure some of our viewers who watch the wrestling part will understand what I mean, but we love that guy. And every time he does something that, is a little questionable, he comes out and says, he's like, "Yeah, the fans didn't like what I did, so we gotta change it up." Like, he admits it, and it's funny.
Let's check out what's going on in the chat. Purpleness said too much for games. I would assume that's for the $70 price tag. Yeah,
Yes.
it really hurts. It really sucks. At least they're available on Game Pass. So what I do is I play them on Game Pass, and then when the games get like really cheap, I buy them because obviously I still collect. But Game Pass kind of lets me like I don't like waiting for deals. I like to just have it and then play it when I get the chance to play it. Game Pass kind of helps me do that. Whereas like, and then I could just wait. Like okay, like I'll just wait until Halo Infinite goes on sale. Like I didn't buy Halo Infinite at launch. I played it on Game Pass at launch. Really enjoyed it, and then now I have it on my shelf because I saw it went on deal like a few months back where it was like a really good deal. I was like, this is great, and I bought it. Um, but I mean, it's unfortunately just kind of where the industry's going. The Xbox isn't the first to do it, and I'm sure eventually Nintendo's gonna cave on that. The training Doge said hello, which I think he means hello. So hello, Doge.
What up, Doge?
Purple also said that she's boycotting Blizzard. Stopped playing all their games until about a month ago. Hurt because you guys met on there.
Yeah.
Purple, why did you start? I'm sure I'm not saying that I'm surprised. There are plenty of reasons to have issues with Activision Blizzard. But I'd like to let us know why. What's going on?
Yeah, it was definitely all that controversy with the the guys
Oh,
and the culture going on there. That's definitely what it was.
yeah, I'm sure it was. That's why I said I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Um,
For the viewers watching, if you don't know, Purpleness is my wife, by the way.
yeah. All right, time for our next segment of the show, Jeff. The game releases for this week, the week of December 5th.
Yeah.
Not really too much going on, but let's run through it real quick. Uh, Tomorrow, December 6th, we have Divine Knockout coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Hello Neighbor 2, which I played the first one, coming to PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Also coming to Game Pass day one tomorrow. Also coming to Game Pass tomorrow is the Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, which is I've heard very good things about. I have it in my backlog, but it's coming to Game Pass tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's going to be free on the PlayStation. Don't quote me on this, but I know one of the Lego things is going to be. I can't wait to check that one out. I love the Lego games.
Nice. Next up, we have Sky, Children of the Light, coming out on PS5 and PS4, also tomorrow, December 6th. Chained Echoes comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on December 8th. Crossfire Legion comes to PC on December 8th. Choo Choo Charles comes to PC on December 9th. Now, Choo Choo Charles, I'm actually excited for this game, and I might buy it. Have you heard of this game?
I have not.
Okay, you need to look it up because it's wild. Choo Choo Charles is a horror game, first-person horror game, where there's like this Thomas the Tank Engine type train trying to hunt you down and fucking murder you. Like Jeff, you should actually look up like a
I'm
quick
doing it right now. I'm
trailer.
looking it up right now.
Yeah, look it up real quick and watch it. It's like a minute trailer. It looks nuts, and I really actually kind of want to. I really want to get this, so I might actually get this on December 9th. And then while Jeff's looking that up, the last game on the list coming out this week is Dragon Quest Treasures, coming out on the Switch on December 9th. So let's let Jeff.
The cover for this game is creepy as shit.
I know it looks so creepy, but it,
Holy fuck! All right,
I know you don't expect it because the name Choo Choo Charles is so like goofy sounding, but it's not. It's not goofy, Jeff. It is not goofy at all. This game is terrifying, but I want to play it. It looks really good, actually.
All right. So I'm gonna show a little bit of it here.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So the train looks as if it's got like spider legs. I think I see 3 on each side, so it's not really spider, but you know, whatever. That is creepy as hell, dude. That looks awesome.
I know you're like this is your train that you're riding on, and like you have like you upgrade the train, you put like a gun on it. Like this just seems so cool. I'm actually really interested in this game. So if I pick up a game this week, it's going to be Choo Choo Charles.
This is
I hate the name though. I would have went with a different name, but
yeah. At first, like my brain immediately went to like Thomas the Tank Engine. I was all like, "Oh, that sounds fun," and then you get this. Holy shit!
I know, isn't it a misleading title? Like seriously,
this looks great.
That's what I'm saying. I want to play this.
It reminds me. I don't want to say like reminds me of, but it almost has like a Metro feel. Do you remember the Metro games?
Oh yeah, no, I played those. They're really good games. But yeah, so that's Choo Choo Charles. That's if we were to do a segment where it's like that's Rome's pick of the week, that's the game I want to play this week. I don't know if I'm gonna get around to it anytime soon, but yeah, only on PC, which is kind of a bummer. But I do have a gaming PC now, a laptop at least. I'm
for sure gonna try to find some streamers who are playing this and watch.
We'll look forward to that. I believe I said it was December 9th. Yep, December 9th.
So you got to upgrade your train, you upgrade your weapons. All right, you find oh, wow. So you got to like stop every once in a while. You do a little bit of looting and upgrade your train while you run from this thing. Dude, that's crazy. I love the idea of this. That's great.
No, see, this is why you're on the show, Jeff. This is why we do the show with you. So that way you can really discover that layer of gaming that you haven't seen before.
Coming to Steam, 12/9/22.
Yep. Hell yeah, man. All right. Excuse me. Jeff, are you ready to talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet?
I am, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going to start my review by just letting people know I played Pokemon Scarlet version on a day one Nintendo Switch. I just want to,
So an original Switch, essentially, what you're saying?
Launch day Switch. This is the Nintendo Switch that I bought at, on day one. with when Breath of the Wild came out, day one Switch, 2017, I believe it was. This is that same Switch. I don't have an OLED. I don't have, any of the newer models that have like a little bit of an upgrade inside that's not really anything beneficial. This is a day one original hardware Switch. But anyways, let's get into it. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are the newest addition to the Juggernaut Pokemon franchise. Scarlet and Violet are the debut of the 9th generation of Pokemon. These games are clearly ambitious, but how are they executed? Let's get into it. So, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room to begin with. I'm going to start with performance issues. So how do I want to? I'm just gonna be completely honest with this. Since release, many players have reported various issues in the game. These issues range from frame rates dropping to glitch character models. On my day one Switch, I can report that I have experienced very minimal performance issues. I'm extremely blessed. I did run into frame rate issues. That these things did happen to me where I would have some frame rate droppage, and some of them in kind of not really in bad areas. Like I never had frame rate droppage during battling. A lot of people like showed like some really bad frame rate drops in battle. Like I've seen the issues. I've seen them online. Myself, not so much. I experienced a little bit of frame rate drop here and there. I did have I think I mentioned this on last week's episode. I did have an issue where the game crashed on me once. It happened when I was going into a gym, and which triggered a loading screen, which
Okay.
crashed the game. Luckily, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has an autosave feature, so I only lost about 20 seconds worth of playtime
That's
because of this
lucky
crash.
right there for sure.
Yes, extremely lucky. Otherwise, I probably would have lost about 45 minutes because even though it's an autosave, I grew up in the 90s with a Game Boy. I save constantly. Um, However, yeah, I mean, just to talk about the performance issues, I did not experience a lot of them. Some frame rate drops, yes. But to the level that I've seen others deal with, no, I haven't. And my review is going to reflect that. But I would argue that the frame rate issues clearly aren't bothering a lot of people, Jeff, considering the sales of this game are
Yeah.
freaking blowing up. So, um, you know, take that with what you will. As we mentioned earlier in the show, Nintendo is also working to address these issues and fix the issues that exist. But yeah, it was very interesting to me playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because obviously I heard bad things about the performance before I even played the game. So I was sitting there with my day one Switch because I'm waiting for the Switch Pro. Nintendo's not going to get me to budge until they put a Switch Pro out. Um, I was sitting there sweating bullets. I'm like, damn it, this game is going to be buggy as hell because I got a day one Switch. If it's not going to work on anyone's console, it's going to be mine.
Right.
Um, and then I put it in and like even when the frame rate does drop, it was never really in a spot that was super like a hindrance to me. It didn't affect my gameplay. um there were some issues sometimes where like there was one cutscene in the beginning of the game where it's a bunch of kids in a classroom because you like in the game you're a student in school, and their legs like they're kicking their legs because they're kids, and like the legs were like frame rate dropping, and I thought that was really weird. But like that was like 15 seconds at the beginning of the game, and I'm sitting here like 40, 50 hours later like, no, that doesn't bother me now.
Yeah.
But so yeah, in terms of performance issues, Jeff, I I can't really speak to them because didn't really have a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's to do with you having an original Switch or one of the newer ones. That's really odd because I had heard a lot of the people having problems had the older Switches. But I mean, it doesn't get any older than the one you have.
No, it does
It
not.
literally does
I
not.
had a prototype, which I do not. I have a day one. Um, so yeah, I mean, in terms of my review score, which we'll get to it at the end, I did take off a little bit because I did have some frame rate issues, but it was very minimal in terms of affecting my experience during this game.
Okay.
All right, let's get into the region itself, the Paldea region. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet take us to a new region called Paldea. The region is a massive region with many different biomes, including but not limited to snowy mountain desert. Um, this is the first open world Pokemon RPG game, which honestly is a dream come true for me. And it's truly open world. Sword and Shield, it was an open world. Like they had these big areas, but the idea was not really capitalized on. Here in Scarlet and Violet, there are no loading screens outside of going into a gym, leaving a gym, and going into the academy, which is like the school that you go to in the game. Apart from
Okay.
those three things, well, really two things, because it's just entering and leaving those things. Apart from those things, there are no loading screens unless you fast travel. Um, but everything else is seamless. Going from place to place, like just very minimal, very very minimal loading screen. Um, That being said, a big pro for this game for me was that the towns and the cities are included in that open world. So it's seamless. You just go into a town. You just walk into a city, you walk into a town, and you're in the town. Again, no loading screens, which on the Switch, that kind of blew me away. I
That's
wasn't
actually pretty
expecting that.
impressive.
It's very impressive, which again, you kind of almost can forgive when there are some frame rate dips because of what the hardware they're working with. Like I'm just like I can't get upset about the frame rate dipping a little bit here and there. Um, but it's just crazy to me. You just walk into a city and you're in the city. There were times where I would accidentally, because I was trying to get like items that were scattered on the outskirts of the city, I would like literally leave the city and go back in. It kept saying on the like, "You're now entering the city. You're now leaving the city," and it's just that seamless. It's just like in out. Like just it's crazy.
That's really
Um,
cool.
it is. Um, the world. So, and this is where the con comes in though for this open world. While the towns and cities are well designed and laid out really well, these towns and cities are largely lifeless. Um, Outside of
Ah,
restaurants and apparel shops, gyms are really the only thing that I could find to do in these cities and towns. This felt extremely disappointing to me, as usually in towns and cities, in Pokemon games, at least every game, there's a few cities or towns where there's something going on, whether you're fighting an enemy team or there's like in-game stuff you can do. Like there's just stuff to do in these towns and cities. And I learned after about my third or fourth town in the game that like these cities are really well designed. Like they're cool. Like some of them are really cool. And like there's just nothing going on there. And I was sitting there and my friend D was over and he was playing on his Switch, playing Violet, and I go into this one town, and like there's this like really like this warehouse looking, like it's just a warehouse, and it's a unique building. There's no other. It's not a reused asset, and I'm like, why couldn't they have done something with this warehouse? Like, why couldn't there be like a thing like maybe the enemy team has a base there, or like a hideout there, or maybe there's just something going on there. Like I just wish they would have fleshed out the towns and the cities a little bit. It's not like a super big deal because everything outside of the cities is really well populated with Pokemon. There's a lot to do, but I would just like that. That just felt like a missed opportunity for me.
yeah, that definitely does to me as well. Because when you're doing a open world game and you have cities, you want to give people reasons to go there. And if the only reason is a gym, I mean, how often are you gonna go visit that gym? So once you do what you need to do there, probably not going back. You know?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. I mean, so
Yeah.
yeah, you go to the gym and then a post game thing. It's not really a spoiler. It happens in a lot of games. Part of the post game is going and challenging all the gyms again. Apart from those two things, I don't think I ever really went back to a town for any reason.
Oh, that's missed opportunity, I guess. Maybe a chance for something in the future to add some stuff to the cities.
Exactly. I think a lot of the things that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet could improve on, I, I think they're things that you'll see in the future. Like add a side quest system. You know what I mean? Like you're an open world RPG now, you're gonna have to add a side quest system.
Yeah.
Have it so you go to these towns and every town or city has like 3 or 4 side quests. Like it doesn't even need to be anything major. It just something.
Yeah.
Or like put some Pokemon trainers in the cities so you can battle in the cities at least. Every city has its own gym battlefield, which is really cool. Again, the designs of these cities and towns are really cool. Um, and each city has its own unique battlefield where you fight the gym leaders at. And like you could have done something cool with that. Like maybe each town has like a tournament that you enter and win a prize to do. Like just something to add a little bit more to the cities or towns. Um,
Yo,
But
so real quick, I'm loving this pink Cadillac big speaker mobile that this kid, it's somebody that they're
yeah.
battling in the video we got playing right now. It's a really
Mhm.
cool little car. And then this
So
Slay King that he just summoned is hilarious.
okay, slacking is hilarious.
Slacking, that's his
Um,
name. Okay.
so Slacking's like I don't know if you know much about Slacking. He's a super powerful Pokemon. Attack stats are through the fucking roof. But much like his first evolutionary stage, he is lazy as fuck and will only attack once every other turn.
Yeah, he was laying there just all like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the footage you're showing right now is a Team Starbase, and basically, so that vehicle, that car, the front of that car is a Pokemon called a
Okay, I
Reaver.
see that. The engine there. Okay.
Yeah, the engine is an actual Pokemon. And I'll go a little bit more in depth about Team Star a little bit later in the review, but I just wanted to let you know that yeah, that front of that car is a Pokemon. Anyways, let's move on. Another pro of the Paldea region and the world itself. The world around you continues in real time during battles. Wild Pokemon in the area will continue to move around in real time around you, and even stop and
What?
gather around you while you're battling. The Pokemon, I even caught them sometimes reacting to my battles. Um, I just thought that. So while I will critique the cities and towns for being empty and feeling a little lifeless, that's not the case in the wild. Um, there were times where I would have a trainer battle, and the wild Pokemon that were there before the trainer battle were still there while I was battling, and they would literally walk over and watch us battle. Um, and then like sometimes I would hit like a blow that would like knock out my opponent's Pokemon, and the Pokemon around them would like roar or like react to it. It seemed like. Um, Other than that, like yeah, like, everything just goes real time, and I just thought that that was really awesome that they were able to pull that off. Um,
Yeah.
I had a really cool story. It's hilarious to me, but so I'm playing. This was like I think this was the first moment where I decided that I love this game. Because spoiler, I love this game. Um, I was playing, and this is like day one, like that night. I'm playing. I'm going over this field, and I caught something. I was battling it out, and all these Pokemon were around us, and like the battle kind of ended, and these Pokemon like dispersed. Um,
So they were kind of like
well,
watching like a high school fight, everyone gathered
yeah,
around in a circle.
yeah, no, that will happen in the game.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Now, usually you have to find an area where they spawn in. Like they won't spawn while you're battling, but if they're spawned while you're battling, like they'll just kind of congregate around you. But anyway, so I'm playing and I catch this Pokemon. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm reading the Pokedex entry because I like to read those when I catch them. My phone goes off and someone texts me, so I'm like texting back, put the phone back down. It's like 30 seconds later. I go to turn around and go back the way I was going because like I kind of went off the path. And like I turned my camera and there is a Pichu just sitting there behind me. And it's like, hi. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a Pichu. You know what I mean? Like it watched me battle. I caught the Pokemon. All the other Pokemon left, and this Pichu was just like, no, I'm gonna wait for you. Whenever you're ready, we can do this.
And are
Um,
Pichu's rare?
I thought so. I mean, I didn't see any others. Pikachu, I saw more Pikachus than I did Pichus.
Okay.
Um, I think I only saw maybe two, but I didn't spend like I was leaving that area. You know what I mean? Like certain Pokemon are going to show up in certain areas. That was towards the enemy being in that area, so I don't know how common they are or not. But that was something really cool that happened. Other things that would be really awesome that would happen is, and it was actually how I caught. I believe it was an Espeon. It was one of the EV evolutions because these EV evolutions are in the wild now, which is as a kid, growing up where you get one EV in the game blows my mind. But so I'm doing a trainer battle, right? And I go to battle the trainer and I'm fighting it out. And I look past the trainer, like a little bit behind him, and there's just a fucking Espeon just sitting there. And I'm like,
Oh,
I need to get this battle done
yeah.
right now. Like and just shoved them out of the way, went and caught the Espeon. It was awesome. Um, so yeah, that's a big plus for me. The world itself was just really awesome to go through. And there's just other little things, and I'm sure I missed some stuff, but there was a lot of attention to detail in the Pokemon and how they reacted in the world. So Jeff, I don't know if you know much about in terms of like Pokedex entries and stuff like that. But so you got Jigglypuff, Igglypuff, Jumpluff, and forgetting the last one. But these Pokemon are very light Pokemon, and in their Pokedex entries, it's been said that like when the wind blows strongly, these Pokemon are so light they just get swept away in the wind, right? So
Yeah.
I'm playing, and I come across a group of Jumpluff, and they just kind of all went, and I'm like, I'm like, I forgot about this, and I'm like, that's weird. Is that one of these bugs I'm hearing about? I'm like, okay, whatever. Went to a different area. Another group of Jumpluff and a Jigglypuff was there. They all also went just flying away.
That's
And I'm
funny.
sitting there thinking, and I'm like, wait a second, like, wasn't this established? These Pokemon are really light and they literally travel through the air. And I looked it up and I was like, oh my god, they literally have it in this game where these light Pokemon, when the weather starts picking up, they get swept away by the wind.
So
And I'm like,
I guess they're weak against wind type, or bird type. I guess.
well, Jumpluff is part grass, so yes, that one is weak against it. Um, but like that just blew me away. Like a little touch like that was just like, holy crap, that is wild. Um, so I really appreciated that. All right, let's move on to the story of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So in this game, you play as a new student at Paldea's Naranja Academy, a school where students learn everything there is to know about Pokemon. During the course of your studies, a school event has you set out on an adventure across the region to find your own personal treasure. Now, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet do a really cool way of storytelling, Jeff, in a sense that they split their story into 3 different story arcs. The first story is a traditional route that Pokemon veterans will be used to, and that is the Victory Road arc. Basically, this arc has you going from town to town, challenging the 8 gym leaders, getting the badges, and then finishing your journey with the Elite Four. Very simple, very cut and dry, not much to talk about, but
Yeah.
still something that I think needs to be a part of the Pokemon games, especially after like Sun and Moon, which was a just huge disappointment. Love having gym leaders, and this was um, a great arc to go through. The next one was the Path of Legends, which I don't want to go too much into, but this sees you tracking down what are called Titan Pokemon. Um,
What?
yeah, again, I'm not going to go too spoilery with these story arcs, but that's that one, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. The third story arc is called Starfall Street, which sees players taking on Team Star, which is a gang of misfits who attended the academy. Um, and again, I don't want to go too much into this one either, but basically, as you saw in the gameplay that you were showing, you basically go to each base, and you have to challenge each base's Team Star leader, um, and you have to basically defeat them in battle. And there's also a really cool kind of raid mechanic to each Team Star base, um, which I'll dive into a little bit later because there's another point I want to bring up that's similar to it. Um, but so overall, I was actually really impressed with the depth of these 3 story arcs. Um, Pokemon's the kind of game that doesn't always really care about narrative. It's just like go to town and get the gym badge, and then while you're going through your journey, you're going to take on the rival team, and like these things are all present in the game. But I was really surprised with just the character development. Like they're fleshing out these characters and they're telling stories. Like each of these arcs tell a very clear and coherent story that, while all separate, all also kind of come together towards the end of the game. And I was really shocked. I was really shocked that they actually have a narrative written out, and there were some really awesome moments playing these through these story arcs. So I mean, I definitely recommend players taking the time to do all 3 arcs. You can basically pick and choose which arcs you want to do, what order you want to do them in, which I'll get into that as well. Where do we know? Does this time? Yeah, okay. It's actually in my notes right now. So they basically they don't give you a guide on how to do these stories. I thought that was a major miss, because the game is a little misleading in this sense, where it's kind of like, all right, well, basically this thing happens, this school event I'm telling you about, and then they just kind of like say, okay, the map is open up. They show you where every gym leader is. They show you where every Titan Pokemon is on the map, and they show you where every Team Star base is on the map. And they're just like, get out of here, go have fun, champ. And they even kind of point you in a direction. They're like, go west if you want to start with a gym battle. Go east if you want to start with Team Star, or a Titan Pokemon, whatever it was. And so I know that you want to do gym badges because then you can get, your Pokemon to higher levels with the gym badges. So I wanted to start and do a few gym badges before I started tackling the other two. I found very quickly that, I assumed when they say go anywhere and do anything, I assumed that maybe levels would scale or something like that. They do not. Um, and I
Okay.
guess maybe this would have been more suited for the gameplay tab, but I mean, I might as well bring it up now. I felt like I ran into some really steep difficulty curves based off the game not really giving me any recommendations on where to go. And I wasn't really doing anything outrageous. I literally I went west. I did the first gym, which even in the game they're like, this is a lot of people's first gym, which it was. And then I went up and just did the next gym, which was right next to it. I didn't go like all crazy up through the map and go to somewhere that I probably shouldn't have been at yet. I was just naturally progressing through the map and exploring. And I found myself by my third story objective, I was outmatched and outleveled by a good amount, by about 8 or 9 levels. And type advantage wasn't even really cutting it for me at that point. Um, that being said, it was an issue in the game for me. I would like um, after that, I kind of stopped, regrouped, kind of went the other way. After I beat the game, I kind of went online, and apparently people have come up with like the right path to go through.
Yeah.
Which I just wish the game kind of either would have, because I don't like level scaling in games, so I wasn't happy about it. I'm actually more glad that it wasn't in the game. But at that point, do like a recommended level tab. Give me the information
Yes.
I need to know that, like, hey, if you go to this gym, be at level 30. You know what I mean? And
Yep. It shouldn't even let you in. It should be like, sorry, recommended level 20. You got to be at least 19 to come here, you know?
see, I'm okay with it letting me go there and learning the hard way, but like, because Breath of the Wild does the same thing, where it's like Breath of the Wild, you can go right to Ganon and fight Ganon. You're gonna get your ass handed to you unless you're like a god at the game,
Yeah.
but you can do it. You can try. And so I like the freedom that Scarlet and Violet gives, but I felt like it needed a little bit of guidance of just saying like, hey, this gym is level 30. Just be aware that this gym will have level 30 Pokemon. Just something like that I think would have been very helpful. And it wasn't an issue I ran into too often in my journey. It was only happened like 2 or 3 times. But it still happened.
So I think in our gameplay here, we do have a little bit of a spoiler. Looks like he's going after a Titan here, but like you said, you could make that your first part of your story, right?
Yeah, you can. So
Okay.
that Titan is actually, I think that was the last Titan I did. But now that so mostly the spoilers really come between the battles
Okay.
because there's story that's revealed after every objective you do. So let's say you beat a gym, that story will continue after you beat that gym. Or like let's say
Gotcha.
you go and do a Team Star base, you're gonna find out more about Team Star and the leaders of Team Star and their backstories while you're doing after you beat that base. So the real spoiler, it's okay to show some gameplay. The real spoilers, in my opinion, come after the story, after the battles themselves. Um,
Okay.
but I do also really appreciate that the 3 story arcs all feel pretty different. So you're looking at this right now. You're showing gameplay of the excuse me, of the Titan battle. Excuse me.
Yeah, that Titan's kicking his ass, but that Meowscarada just did a freaking crazy amount of damage.
Yeah, Meowscarada is really good. I went with that starter, with the grass starter. Very good Meowscarada. Now, anyways, what I was saying was the Titan battles are kind of like traditional boss battles, where it's like you are just fighting a bigger Pokemon with a lot of health.
Yeah.
Um, Gym battles are gym battles. You go in there, you fight the gym leader. There's a gym test, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but the gym leaders are just, gym leaders, just regular battles. And then you have the Team Star bases, which have like a raid feature before you get to the boss. And then the boss is a battle, but you also fight a Reeve Room, the car. Each Team Star member uses a different type of that car.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sorry, I'm still fighting this cold.
I
You
was
know what
gonna
I
say
mean?
your throat's still bothering you.
Hmm.
You're doing pretty good despite that. So
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the other side of it. But take over for a second, would you?
yeah. So I'm actually really liking this gameplay here. The battles look really cool. Um, I'm actually really hoping that one day we get a real Pokemon MMO. The way that it's going, it looks like they're like, it's almost like they're inching their way into the pool, if that makes any sense. You put your foot in first, and then kind of they're wading up to the knees, and then they've gone down to the waist. And I think the next step is to jump right in and turn this into an MMO where we actually have other players in the same world. These players are able to battle us. I'm a big time World of Warcraft guy. I want to see a World of Warcraft version of Pokemon where we're just running around gaining levels and someone can challenge me to a battle whenever they want. Man, even how we have in Pokemon Go, we have the what are they called? I guess they call them gym battles in Pokemon Go as well. We could do gym battles like raids. I think there's a really big possibility we see a nice MMO from Pokemon.
All right, let's try this again. Sorry about that, man. I've been fine all weekend after the Friday show. It just really kind of hit me.
Yeah, something
Anyway,
got you.
yeah, no worries. So other things, the gameplay. This is the best Pokemon gameplay wise I've ever seen. Just a lot of awesome positives of this long running series with a lot of quality of life improvements. And
so you actually really enjoy the gameplay in this? You said it's the best gameplay you've had in a Pokemon game?
yeah, no, there's a lot of quality of life improvements that
Okay.
man, I'm just losing this live right now. Jesus Christ.
So like even over Arceus? Because I really like that gameplay.
Yeah, I mean definitely. I think Arceus tries a lot of new things and but it's complicated. I love Arceus a lot for what it is,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that it exists. I want there to be more of them. But I mean, this takes a lot of the new additions from Arceus and really
Yeah.
implements it into the Pokemon model. And I just think that was really awesome. The quality of
So
life improvements in this game are just incredible.
nice. So with Arceus, I feel like that was their first little step into that pool. That almost felt like an open world, but there were the loading scenes here and there, like when you went from one area to another. Um, I'm really, really excited for the future of hopefully getting. They could take this exact game for all I care, and add other people to the game. You know what I mean? Like, let's all of a sudden open the world to other players, and I want to be able to battle other players. That would be incredible. And I think the technology is there. There's no way that they can't do it. They got to have it in the back of their mind. Hopefully, they've already got it in development.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit. But so I talk about quality of life improvements and just the games in general getting better. In this game, there's called the Let's Go feature. And the Let's Go feature is really cool because it basically eliminates grinding from the game.
Okay.
Which is really awesome. Basically, what you do is instead of doing battles, you basically send your Pokemon out and it will do all of the battling for you.
So
Now,
that's why on the gameplay that we're watching, it keeps on popping up on the side. Your Growlithe defeated this, or your Arcanine defeated that. I was like, he's not battling anything. Why do I keep seeing that? So that perfectly explains why we were seeing that over on the side of the screen there. Okay.
yep, that's exactly what you're looking at. So it eliminates grinding, which is just freaking crazy to me. The fact that it eliminates grinding is just wild.
That's awesome.
It really is. When I talk about the quality of life features, like that, like the fact that they've literally taken everything that sucked about Pokemon and they've just fixed it, made it better, and made it so it doesn't happen. You don't have to deal with it as much. They over the years they've got rid of HMs and they got rid of other things. In Sword and Shield, they made it so you can access your box in the menu that returns in this. So when I say it's my favorite Pokemon game based off gameplay, that's what I'm talking about. Just the quality of life, it's phenomenal. And they eliminated grinding. So like the fact that you've eliminated grinding from an RPG, like you literally just say Arcanine, go out there and fight those 10 Pokemon, and I'll just kind of hang out here and watch you go. Like that's awesome. That's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, how many can you do at once? Can you send out more than one Pokemon at once, or is it just one at a time?
So unfortunately, no. You can only do one for right now.
I figured.
But with the EXP share on, It basically gives them all XP, so it's not that big of a deal.
Oh wow, okay. So there's XP share between all your Pokemon?
Yeah, well, so that's another thing that's great is they, and this has been a thing since X and Y, so it's been there for a few games, but the EXP share just gives everyone in your party experience.
Huh.
So let's say you have like you catch like a really low level Pokemon, you want it to be on your squad, very minimal effort now. It's a big improvement.
That's awesome. That was one of the things about Arceus. You know, I don't have a lot of time. I wasn't able to level any of my dudes up. You know, I was no grinding for me.
All right. Other things that are in the game, they have the Terrestrial Phenomenon. It's kind of like the gimmick for this generation. They allow you to basically change your Pokemon's type mid battle. Man, I'm
Wow,
so
that's
sorry,
weird.
Jeff.
Oh, you're good. You got a soda or anything? The bubbles will probably help. You probably got something.
I was hoping so. I don't know what's going on.
No, but you know, doing great so far. We got some good gameplay going on here. I absolutely
Mm.
love this. That man, what is he called again?
Which one are we talking about?
That lazy Pokemon that I liked.
Oh, Slacking.
Yeah, Slacking. He's cool as hell. Now, is he with what's he an evolution of?
So he is Slack Off and then Vigorous,
Okay.
which ironically enough, Vigorous is like super vigor. You know, he's vigorous, or
Yeah.
it's Vigor Off, I think. Um, Gen 3 Pokemon. But
Okay. Yeah, you know, forgive me everybody. I'm Gen 1 only. Like after Gen 1, nothing. Nothing up here.
Well, I'm Gen 1 too, but you know, I've played all the games, so I hope I
Yeah,
would pick.
I've just never bothered. Once I found out that it goes up to like 900, I was like, yeah, I'll stick with my Gen 1 and I'm good for now.
Well, you know, they're over 1,000 now
Yeah,
with
that's
this.
when I learned
Yeah,
that is when I stopped. I was like, yeah, I'm not even trying.
yeah, with this game they hit over 1,000.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, the Terrastalize, I don't really know how it's pronounced. It lets you change your type mid-type. Each Pokemon has its own different typing for the Terra type. Let's call it Terra type to keep it simple.
Yeah.
And it can be the same as your original type, which means it kind of just gives you an attack boost, or it could be a strategy where it's a completely different type. And
That's
it's cool.
wild.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's their generational gimmick. Every generation they feel the need to have a gimmick.
Yeah.
Some are better than others. This one's better. I mean, Z moves were terrible,
So
so
like,
it's
are
better
you
than that
saying
one.
essentially like I could have my Bulbasaur mid battle, I could change it from grass type to like electric type or something?
Yeah, yeah, you could do that. I
Wow.
mean, you would have to plan your moves out in a way that would make sense for that, though,
Of
which
course,
is
yeah.
where I don't really use it very often.
I'm just saying like that was just an example that popped into my head, but that's crazy.
No, yeah, it's very cool.
I could see all kinds of craziness going in the Pokemon battles with the pros.
Yeah. Um, so next up, Terra Raid battles, which are kind of four-player co-op battles, and you face a giant Terra type Pokemon, kind of in a boss structure, kind of like the Titans. And they early game, I like them a lot. The post game, not so much. They're very difficult. There's a very big difficulty curve in the post game ones, which I just found kind of disappointing. Because I was kind of enjoying them, and then they had an event for a 7-star Charizard, which 7-star is like the highest you can go in terms of difficulty, and you have to unlock that by doing enough 5-stars, and you unlock the 5-star post game. And it was just,
Oh
man,
wow.
I had a level 90 Glaceon, which is an ice type, going up against dragons, and like there were people that had the Charizard, and we were just failing these 5-star raids. I found them very frustrating, and to be honest, they were my least favorite part of playing this game. Were these
Okay.
terror battles, which was very disappointing. Um, Other stuff, gym tests. I talked about those earlier. Basically, to challenge every gym leader, you need to complete a gym test, and that's not always a battle. So right now, you're showing actually a gym test that is a battle, which is
Yeah.
nice that you're showing that right now.
Yeah, I skipped back a
Um,
little bit.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm a few seconds behind on the
Oh,
stream.
you're good.
But some of these tests are cool. Others are kind of dumb. There was one that I felt the need to just mention because it's just mind-boggling how dumb it was. So this one gym challenge, they were like, we need to do like yoga, and I'm like, okay, what is this going to consist of? And it was more like you have to show that you could show your feelings while doing the poses. And so it's like basically it's the D-pad, and she would and like each D-pad direction was an emotion, and she would call out the emotion, and you had to do that emotion on the D-pad. And I was like, and it wasn't hard either. It wasn't even like a quick time event. He gave you like 5 seconds, and I'm like, this is dumb. Why can I just battle the gym leader, please? Like, what are we doing here? Um, I would like to see them kind of go back to an old style of gym leaders where it's like, hey, why don't you battle a few trainers in the gym and then you can face the leader? I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
All right. We're almost towards the end here. There was actually a lot of stuff that I wanted to talk about with this game. Sorry, it's such a long. Apparently, it's killing me.
Yeah, actually, I thought you were gonna have a little bit of a quicker one here, but this is awesome. Actually, I'm learning a lot
I
about the game. I kind of wanted to know. So
Yeah. Well, so here's something else. You can craft TMs now. So obviously, you can still find TMs in the open world, and you get TMs from beating gyms and stuff like that. But now you can craft them as well, which was a really cool feature. You battle wild Pokemon, beat the wild Pokemon, and you can get materials to craft TMs.
okay,
Um, you got the Union Circle, which is 4-player co-op. Didn't get to do this much myself, but it's 4-player co-op in one game, pretty seamless. You can just like the battles that are in real time in the world, same for co-op. It was really impressive actually. The fact that like you could be playing like so we could be playing together, Jeff, and you could go into a battle and I could sit there and watch your battle. And like I could like even walk past your battlefield if I was like dicking with you, you know what I mean? You wouldn't do anything, but like you could just move around the battle while it's going down.
yeah,
That was
that's
really
cool.
cool.
I mean, that's the beginnings of what I was talking about, putting other players in the
Exactly.
game with me.
Exactly. So
Oh
that
yeah,
is there. The bones are there. Um, other little things, picnics. It's kind of like the gimmick again, where you can have a picnic with your Pokemon, have fun with them. That's really cool.
I bet Purple would be doing that all day.
Right.
Should be
The
taking Pikachu
sandwiches.
out for a picnic.
Yeah. So in the picnics, you make sandwiches for your Pokemon, and you use these sandwiches and the food that you find in the restaurants in the towns I mentioned earlier, and they give you like little bonuses, like catching. You're better at catching certain types or stuff like that. Gives you little buffs. Maybe you're more likely to find an items or whatever. I didn't really use it much, but it's there and it adds more level to the game.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And lastly, post game. Um, there's 400 Pokemon available. I think it's a really good number. Good balance of generations
Lot.
available. I mean, it's not 1,000, so I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be too much. Like, I like that they pick and choose every game to bring
Yes.
different Pokemon in.
When I hear people asking for every Pokemon, I'm like, do you realize what
Crazy.
you're doing to yourself? Are you like, do you like self-harm? It's gonna
It's
take you
crazy.
a year to finish that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Apart from completing the Pokedex, you get to challenge gym leaders again. You get to do this tournament that I don't want to talk about really right now because it's spoilers. Um, in terms of Pokemon games, I think the post game in this game is kind of light. Not bad, but I think they want you to do those Terror Raid battles, and I think that they're not very good.
Okay.
So, what can you do? But that is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Overall, I love this game. There's definitely some issues. There's definitely some things that they can improve on in the future, but the groundwork is there for something truly special. Um, I give this game a 9 out of 10.
Nice. Okay.
I really loved my time in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I think that they really kind of I say this now, but they'll probably even make it better next time. I have faith in them doing that. I feel like they perfected the formula at this point. Like I
Yeah.
said earlier, the quality of life and just it's so much easier to do everything. Like it takes all the inconveniences out of Pokemon, and you can just go and play the game. You can just explore this world with your Pokemon, go be a champion, do what you want to do, enjoy a good story, and it's great. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Nice, nice. And like you said at the beginning, you didn't experience as many of those bugs as some
Right.
other people did, and that definitely influenced your rating on it. So I'm glad you were able to, on a Gen 1 or day 1 Switch, had as little, problems as possible. So I just think it's one of those things where nowadays people blow things out of proportion because, we have the internet. So like
Right.
one person complains about a bug, another one goes, and then it just spreads like wildfire, and people think that there's more to it than there really is. Um, so I'm very surprised with your rating there. That's really good. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I can't recommend this game enough, really. Especially after the patch. I mean, if those frame rates are gone, this game is probably at like a 9.5. Like, just fix the towns, fix the cities, add a little bit more. You're really close.
The
It's really good.
characters look amazing. They look like right out of an anime. Like this girl Nimona,
Yeah.
she
Like I
looks
said,
she's beautiful. She's perfect.
this game does a great job at just fleshing out characters. Nimona, you'll see her on your gym challenges. Um, Again, no spoilers, but she has motivations and she's a character, and like they all like it's not the most like riveting characters, but like it's really good. Like I really strongly recommend this game. This game it gets a strong recommendation from me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm loving the graphics and everything. Like you said with the frame rate, that's the only thing that I've seen is every couple of scenes, like it slows down a little bit, but this looks great.
Yeah, yeah, no, completely. I definitely recommend it to anyone who's on the fence. Get this game and play it. It's really good.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got. Especially because I'm dying.
Yeah, you made
Really
it a long
sorry.
time before it kicked in. So good
I
job
don't.
with
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I thought I was doing a lot better because I'm like. I mean, for those that listen to us regularly, I lost my voice on Friday, but apparently I'm just back to
Yeah.
dying. I guess I made it all day, and now here I am.
All right. Well, I do have one or two little things that I wanted to throw at you here to
Yeah, go
finish
for it.
us off here tonight. So we're gonna go over to the Modern Warfare 2 / Warzone category for this one. So mainly Warzone. We've been having a lot of issues with people feeling like something is off in the game. So when you get into a certain firefight, Call of Duty firefights, they're very similar to each other. Like let's say you run around a corner and another guy's running around a corner. You see each other face to face. That fight happens all the time. You know what it feels like to win. You know what it feels like to lose. A lot of times in this new Warzone, it doesn't feel right sometimes when you lose, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of people have been doing some investigation and going into games, and basically people are trying to queue into the same game but not in the same party, and then they go find each other in Warzone. And I have actually watched a couple of videos of this happening, so there is some proof of it. The only thing we don't know is whether this is intentional or if it's a bug in the game. We have found that people with higher skill ratings, like if you're able to go into multiplayer and just wreck people in Warzone, once you accumulate about 3 or 4 kills, you start to miss shots. And when I say miss, I'm talking, I watched a guy put his gun directly on his friend's chest who was not in his squad anymore. His friend had 0 kills. He had 3. He put 4 rounds into his chest. Only 2 of them registered. The other 2 went straight through him with no hit markers. So some people went back to that the patent that Activision had put out for the skill-based matchmaking that we found a couple of months back. And they noticed that in the skill-based matchmaking patent, it specifically says in the middle of a game that it can completely change your ability to aim your weapon. So we don't have any proof that it's intentional at the moment, but the way that it feels is so off that it really does feel intentional, where they're trying to give players of lower skill level an advantage in the game. And it's actually an unfair one. You know what I mean? If it's what it seems on the surface, that's pretty unfair to do, where you're literally just creating ghost bullets because people are too good at the game. If it's a bug, just fix it. That's all. But if that's an intentional thing, that's really, really shady.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a really weird story right there.
Yeah. I'll send you a couple videos. I'll post some of them in the Discord if anybody wants to see, you know, but I'm not going to show any videos like that on the actual pod for now till we get some more investigation and stuff on that. And then the other thing I wanted to go over was back to the Pokemon. I should have done this first, but back to Pokemon. Did you see the video that I had posted in Discord of the gentleman who had played Pokemon Emerald way back in the day? And somehow in his game, it was either deleted or corrupted, was his first Pokemon that he started with, leveled up the Blastoise, and defeated the game with. And on his cartridge, somehow it was corrupted. And him and some guys who were computer geniuses wound up trying to see if they could retrieve his Blastoise and somehow put it back onto his cartridge. And I'm not going to say whether they were successful or not, but this is a really emotional video, and I did not expect it to be. Like, halfway through, my eyes were watering because of, like, this guy really had an attachment to this Blastoise, and to see something like that in another Pokemon fan, you know, it's just really cool. So I just posted the video in chat. If anybody wants to go check it out, it's a really cool video to watch. It's a little long. I think it's like 25 minutes, but they go through everything that they had to do and tried to do to see if they could, you know, revive this Pokemon from the dead. It's really, really cool video.
Yeah, man, Pokemon has that connection with people. You know what I mean?
It does.
It's crazy.
Yeah, if you watch it, you'll see the look on his face, the highs and lows of when they think they've got it, when they think there's no, you know, no chance, and it's a roller coaster of emotion if you watch that video and if you enjoy Pokemon too yourself. So highly recommend it.
Nice, nice. You got anything else for us?
No, I think that would be it, man.
All right, take us out of here.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here tonight on the Game Room podcast, part of the Broken Tables podcast. Thank you everybody who joined us here on YouTube. We are live on YouTube, and you guys are more than welcome to type in chat. We basically go over everything typed into chat. We answer all your questions. Any suggestions you guys have, we would love those as well. Thank you to everybody who is listening on the other platforms like Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor. Sorry if I missed any of the ones that you guys listen on. Please hit that subscribe button for us over on YouTube. It helps the channel tremendously. It doesn't hurt you or cost you anything at all. And hit that like button if you don't mind. Helps us get put out there onto the feed. I did notice tonight we were like not even coming up on the feed. I had to search us. It was pretty lame, but you know, it's all good. But until next time, we will be back here for the Game Room podcast on Monday nights at 9 p.m. If you do want to check us out for our Broken Tables Wrestling podcast, we will be here on Wednesday after AEW Dynamite at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But until the next time, thank you guys very much for joining us, and Top Guys out.